a major federal crackdown on homelessness, a $200 million settlement with Columbia University, and a heartfelt farewell to wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. And speaking of wrestlers, here's today's trivia question. Which former professional wrestler is the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee? It's Friday, July 25th. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning and welcome to the Flyover Podcast. I'm your weekday host, Ayla Brown. If you didn't know, it's Friday. I hope you have great plans for the weekend. And if you listened to yesterday's podcast, I asked you to guess how tall I was. Many of you guessed, and I promise I'll give you the answer at the end of the show. Anyways, let's take off with the biggest headlines of the day. President Trump has signed a new executive order directing states and cities to remove homeless individuals, drug users, and those with serious mental illness from public areas and place them in treatment centers. The order shifts federal funding toward long-term institutional care and gives priority to communities already cracking down on public camping, drug use, and loitering. The White House says the move is aimed at restoring public safety and quality of life, noting that more than 274,000 people slept on U.S. streets each night last year. The policy has been tested in cities like Long Beach, California, where youth homelessness dropped 47% in 2024, and Denver, Colorado, with a reduction in unsheltered homelessness. Meanwhile, Columbia University has reached a $200 million settlement with the federal government after the Trump administration froze research funding over allegations the school failed to protect Jewish students during Gaza-related campus protests. The agreement restores a large portion of the $400 million that was previously withheld and requires Columbia to implement tighter protest policies and accept an independent monitor. While the university denied wrongdoing, leaders say the deal is meant to help bring stability back to campus. Education Secretary Linda McMahon called it a, quote, roadmap for other schools facing similar scrutiny. And finally, a pop culture icon has passed away. Terry Bollea, better known to millions as Hulk Hogan, died Thursday in Florida at the age of 71. Rising to fame in the 80s, Hogan helped bring professional wrestling into the mainstream, known for his towering presence, signature bandana, and catchphrases like, say your prayers and take your vitamins. He was a 12-time world champion, starred in movies like Rocky III, and became a household name far beyond the ring. Tributes are pouring in from across the world of wrestling and politics, including from Ric Flair and President Trump, who remembered Hogan as, quote, strong, tough, smart, but with the biggest heart. Here are your latest political headlines. A second federal appeals court has now ruled against President Trump's executive order aimed at ending birthright citizenship in the U.S. The court says the policy can't take effect, especially in light of the Supreme Court's recent ruling that limits the scope of nationwide injunctions. The executive order, first introduced earlier this year, sought to deny automatic citizenship to children born in the U.S. to non-citizen parents. Legal challenges are ongoing, but so far, the courts have blocked enforcement. Meanwhile, Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and John Cornyn are calling for a special counsel investigation into whether former President Barack Obama attempted to undermine Trump's 2016 campaign. The senators say recently declassified documents raised new concerns about the handling of intelligence during that period. The request adds to growing scrutiny over the actions of U.S. intelligence agencies before and after the 2016 election. And finally, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche questioned Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein, during a closed-door session at a federal courthouse in Tallahassee. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. The deposition comes amid renewed interest from the House Oversight Committee and ongoing investigations into Epstein's broader network. Today's episode is brought to you by Native Path Collagen, something I use every day, and you can tell because my hair looks so great. Native Path is made with just one ingredient, pure hydrolyzed collagen peptides. No fillers, artificial sweeteners, no additives, just type 1 and 3 collagen, which make up 90% of the collagen in your body. It's third-party tested for heavy metals, so you know it's safe, and it's completely flavorless. What I do, I'll tell you a secret. I mix it right into my coffee, and you would never know it's there. Over 4 million jars sold, 8,000 five-star reviews, and the best part, a 365-day no-risk guarantee. So I know you're curious. Now's the time to try it for yourself. Go to getnativepathcollagen.com/flyover or just click the link in the show notes below. Here are some bonus stories just for listeners of the Flyover podcast. First, in a major shift, the Pentagon has temporarily cut ties with outside think tanks and research events. An internal memo confirms that all military and civilian personnel are now barred from attending forums like the Aspen Security Forum and Halifax International Security Forum unless pre-approved. The change comes after officials cited a misalignment with the Trump administration's views, specifically referencing concerns over, quote, the evil of globalism. From now on, any event participation will require prior review and approved talking points, marking a big step away from the Pentagon's traditional public engagement with the national security world. Over in tech, Google has launched a new AI-powered virtual try-on tool to help you shop with more confidence. Users in the U.S. can now upload full-body photos and see how clothes look on them before making a purchase. It's now live across search, shopping, and image results, and it expands on earlier tools that only showed outfits on preset models. So what's the goal? I'll tell you, fewer returns and more personalized shopping. Google also introduced an experimental, quote, web guide feature that sorts search results into helpful categories, plus a smarter price tracking tool, and they're teasing AI-generated outfit ideas coming this fall. I'm curious, would you ever use one of these to help you shop for clothes? I'm very tall. I promised you I'd tell you how tall I am, so I feel like this tool would be good for someone like me. And finally, if you're standing in the sunscreen aisle wondering whether to go mineral or chemical, here's what the experts are saying. Both are effective, and the difference might not be as big as you think. Mineral options like zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are trending, often seen as cleaner or more reef-friendly, but dermatologists point out that both mineral and so-called chemical sunscreens actually work in similar ways by absorbing UV rays. The FDA still wants more research, especially on potential environmental and long-term health impacts, but for now, the advice is simple. The best sunscreen is the one you'll actually use. Just make sure it has SPF and apply it regularly. That's your podcast extra roundup. Amy Hess will give you more stories in tomorrow's episode. Still to come, a new executive order reshapes how college athletes can get paid. A British startup unveils the fastest e-scooter ever made, and both are sparking big conversations. Those stories and more are coming up. In finance, let's start out with United Health Group, one of the nation's largest health insurers, which just confirmed it's under investigation by the Justice Department over its Medicare billing practices. The company is also conducting its own internal review, and its stock has been sliding as investors react to the news. While few details have been released, the probe reportedly centers on how the company reported payments and reimbursements through Medicare Advantage, a program that's seen growing scrutiny from regulators in recent years. Meanwhile, Rite Aid is set to close more than 100 additional stores across a dozen states as it works through its second round of bankruptcy. The pharmacy chain has already shuttered hundreds of locations since filing last fall, citing rising debt and legal challenges related to opioid-related lawsuits. This latest wave of closures is part of the company's larger restructuring plan aimed at stabilizing operations and cutting costs. And in media news, Skydance Media has told the FCC that if its proposed $28 billion merger with Paramount is approved, it plans to eliminate DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives across the combined company. The studio also says it would appoint an ombudsman to oversee CBS News content and monitor for potential bias. The move comes as the deal faces regulatory review and mounting public debate over media consolidation and newsroom independence. Here's how the stock markets closed on Thursday. The Nasdaq was up 0.18%. The S&P 500 edged higher by 0.07%, while the Dow slipped 0.70%. Bitcoin saw a small gain of 0.14%, and gold dipped 0.60%. The big mover of the day was Bloom Energy, which surged 23% after announcing a new partnership with Oracle. The deal will bring Bloom's fuel cell technology to Oracle's data centers, helping the tech giant move toward cleaner energy solutions. Investors responded quickly, pushing Bloom's stock to one of its best days of the year. In sports, President Trump signed a new executive order Wednesday that bans third-party pay-for-play compensation deals for college athletes. The move is aimed at curbing what the administration calls a Wild West approach to name, image, and likeness payments, where outside groups or individuals can pay athletes for endorsements and sponsorships. Under the new order, only schools and official partners can provide NIL compensation, marking a major shift in how student athletes are allowed to earn money. What do you think about this? Leave a comment in the comments section. Overseas, Texas Tech's women's basketball team is playing for gold today at the FISU World University Games in China. They'll face off against the host country, the People's Republic of China, in what's expected to be a highly competitive final. The tournament brings together top college athletes from around the world, and Team USA is hoping to bring home another championship. Go get 'em, girls. And finally, ESPN is reportedly in talks with the NFL about a major media shakeup. The proposed deal would give ESPN control of NFL Red Zone and the NFL Network in exchange for a 10% equity stake in the new NFL media division. If finalized, it would bring even more pro football content under the Disney-owned sports giant, potentially reshaping how fans watch games and the highlights each week. In science and tech, let's start with a high-speed innovation out of the UK. British startup Bose Scooters has just unveiled the Turbo, a high-performance electric scooter that can hit speeds of over 100 miles per hour. Why? Why does it need to go that fast? It's believed to be the fastest e-scooter ever made and is aimed more at thrill seekers and performance enthusiasts than casual commuters. The company says it's combining extreme speed with next-gen battery tech. But don't expect to see it zipping through city bike lanes anytime soon, because this one's built for controlled environments and expert riders. A new global study out of Duke University is challenging some long-held assumptions about obesity. Researchers found that rising obesity rates around the world are largely tied to increased calorie intake, not a drop in physical activity. In fact, people in wealthier countries are just as active today as they were decades ago. The study tracked data from over 100 countries and suggests that diet, more than movement, is what's driving the global rise in obesity rates. And in health news, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has approved a CDC recommendation to remove thimerosal, a mercury-based preservative from flu vaccines. Thimerosal has been used in multi-dose vaccine vials for decades to prevent contamination, but concerns about mercury exposure, especially in children, have led to a slow phase-out. The CDC says this change is precautionary, not because of any confirmed health risks, and single-dose flu shots without thimerosal have already been widely used in recent years. Still to come, a new Crocs collab that's glazed and sprinkled. Surprising poll results on intermittent fasting, and today's question takes us into the wild world of pro wrestling. Those stories and more coming up. Here are a few extra stories we thought you should know. We start in Russia's Far East, where a Soviet-era Antonov An-24 plane crashed while attempting to land on Thursday, killing all 48 people on board. The aircraft reportedly tried to land once, aborted, and crashed on the second attempt. An An-24 model has been in use since the 1960s, mostly for short-haul regional flights, and has a mixed safety record. Investigators are now looking into what went wrong. In Greenland, residents of a small coastal village got an icy surprise. Two towering icebergs have drifted so close to shore that they're now looming over the town's tiny wooden houses. The massive formations are captured in very dramatic photos. And by the way, you can see those photos by clicking in the show notes below. Speaking of the show notes below, you'll find these pictures as well. In lighter news, Krispy Kreme and Crocs are teaming up for a sweet new collab, a limited edition pair of donut-themed clogs. The $90 shoes go on sale August 5th and feature frosting swirls, sprinkle accents, and even donut-shaped charms. It's the latest in Crocs' line of quirky fashion partnerships, which have previously included everything from KFC to Lightning McQueen. And here's ones for fans of 90s comedies. Adam Sandler's back as Happy Gilmore in a brand new sequel to the 1996 cult classic. The hot-tempered hockey player turned golfer returns in Happy Gilmore 2, which premieres today on Netflix. The original film, I'm sure everyone has seen it, has become one of Sandler's most iconic roles, and this follow-up brings back that same over-the-top energy with some familiar faces and plenty of new rivalries on the green. Will you watch it? Leave a comment in the comments section below. Here's today's poll question and the results. Have you tried intermittent fasting? 51% of you said no. 37% said yes. And 12% said occasionally. Thank you to everyone who voted. We really appreciate that. Here's the poll question for today. We were talking about Hulk Hogan. So have you ever watched professional wrestling? Here are the different ways you can answer. Avid fan. Sometimes. Never seen it. Or don't care. Personally, I'm not a fan of wrestling. I actually don't like watching people fight, even if it's more of a performance rather than a fight. So in this case, I will vote don't care. Amy Hess will read the answers in tomorrow's show. Trivia time! Did you know that one of WWE's most legendary wrestlers is now a mayor? So here's the question. Which former pro wrestler is currently serving as the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee? The answer? It's Glenn Jacobs, better known to wrestling fans as Kane. He spent over 2 decades in the WWE, won 3 world championships, and was inducted into the Hall of Fame. After hanging up his boots, he ran for office in 2017 and was elected mayor the following year. Talk about a career pivot. I didn't know that, and I'm actually fascinated to learn that today. And it is Friday, so that's another reason to celebrate. A couple of housekeeping things, if you don't mind. First, check out Amy Hess's Feel Good Flyover right now. You're going to smile and feel so good after listening to it. She'll be taking you through the weekend as well with more important headlines. And usually, I tell you that I'm going to see you bright and early on Monday, but I'm actually taking the day off. It's my birthday. And I'm one of those people who thinks that no one should work on their birthday. So I will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Oh, and by the way, to all of you who guessed my height in yesterday's podcast, no one got it right. I'm 5'11 3/4. But I tell everyone I am 6 feet because it's better to round up, right? Especially if you're wearing sneakers. Thanks for flying with us.